Now, the bail application of the man accused of setting Parliament on fire, Zandile Mafe, continues in the Cape Town Regional Court tonight. Earlier, the state advocate put it to Mafe that he was angry with President Cyril Ramaphosa and he had wanted the release of Chris Hani's killer, Januz Waluz. Let's listen in to those proceedings. The judge has allowed them to be broadcast live.
Of Bundle A, just as an illustration, affidavit of Bundle A, I'm sorry, Adrian Helder Blom, who's...
Your Worship, I must object. This is not the reply to my argument. I really don't understand how, during the course of these proceedings, on an ongoing basis, once I've argued, reply is allowed on aspects that I've not raised. If he wants to reopen his argument, please let Advocate Mpofu reopen and request that he introduce new matters so that I have an opportunity then to reply. Because what is happening is actually an unfair situation. So if he's not going to confine himself to reply, then an application should be brought that he wants to re-argue basically this application and raise new issues as the court pleases.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, again, I don't want to belabor the point. Obviously, and Malene Friend knows this, I'm obviously raising this in the context of the fact that we are having this bail application now 27 days later, and his assertion in his argument that there are no exceptional circumstances. I don't understand what he's talking about.
If I ask the court to rule on this aspect, because otherwise, if this, if this aspect, if the council is allowed to continue to raise new aspects, and the state is denied the opportunity to respond again in his reply, then we're going to be sitting here all day. I made this point in another forum, and he continues to reply on aspects that were not raised by the state. And by trying to connect them in some obscure way to something that was argued by the state, it really is quite amusing as a court.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, I will not, it's too late for me to address that. The simple point I wish to make in argument, let me make it in general without referring to anything, is that this accused person, Mr. Mafe, it is now common cause, and I wanted to take you to that page, that on the 4th of January, he was postponed, the matter was postponed in terms of section 50, bracket 6 of the Criminal Procedure Act, in other words, for the bail application. And then on that day, I've already said what happened, the 3 ambushes that happened. And the only point I really want to make is that those are the issues that snowballed into where we are now, into the High Court ruling and so on. But the most serious thing, Your Worship, is this. The legislature of this country, ironically in the parliament that was burnt down, decreed that when you are in that mode of section 56, you can only postpone for 7 days at a time. I think that's how it says. But because of the behavior or the conduct of the state, this gentleman had his case postponed for 30 days because he had to go to Falkenberg, illegally beyond the 7 days prescribed by the state. That's just a clear hardship, and that was one of the factors considered by the High Court. But Your Worship, really, all said and done, bottom line, this is an unopposed application, in respect of which there are 12 grounds, exceptional grounds. Your Worship can pick any, and where there's nothing that has been put to this court to even suggest that any of those grounds is baseless. Nothing, really, literally. Because the witnesses that were available were not called, and all we were given is my learned friend's postulations from the bar about this, that, and the other, without any evidence. And I underline that word, evidence, because something is not evidence just because it is handed up. it is evidence because the property value of that something is acceptable in the legal sense of the word. So, what evidence is there before this court? Zero. Thank you.
Ukushakulela ngento ethethwe ikhotha lithi ke apha imnika umnqaba umshutshisi ngathi akukho zinto ezikhethekileyo bana ummangalelwa angathi ayifumane ibheyili kwaye le bheyili lena yayimiswe ngepho zakaJanuwari kwaye ukuza apha ke kodwa ke ngenxeni yemiba yaphinda yamiswa kuze mama izobe kanti kuze bekanti namhlanje bana sizawuvela enkundleni bana sisenza esi sicelo sebheyili kwaye nangoko ngelo xesha limisa ngalo yamiselwa into engacacanga kwaye ingacacanga njena umangalelwa zange anikwe kwaye yena nethuba lokubana makayenze eso sicelo sebheyili kwaye ke kunamhlanje njena umshutshisi akakho nto ayithethileyo enobungqina obubambekayo into yobana kutheni izoba ummangalelwa angabefumana ibheyili kwaye nangona kunjalo izinto ezikhethekileyo imiba emi-12 uyinikile apho umfunda ke yona ke ingaye izikhethele kuloo mba uthe umeli ayeke wayibeka phambi kwale mfunda nangona ke umtshutshisi yena engaboni ngolo hlobo.
I'm not going to reply although they are printed, but I will instead, I suppose at this point, the court will not be able to give judgment. It's quite late in the day. Dates, I'm not sure if council has dates available.
Your Worship, well, obviously from our point of view, we can't assume that judgment cannot be given, but we do acknowledge that a lot has been said. And Your Worship has already told us in chambers that she understands that these are urgent proceedings by their nature, so I don't have to address that. If indeed Your Worship is so minded to reserve the judgment, both the order and the reasons, then Your Worship, I live in Johannesburg, but my Leonard Jr. is from the Cape Bar and my attorney is from here. If all I would request is that I be excused if there is such a future date, and the necessary, one of my colleagues, my learned colleagues will appear, but we just appeal that it should, for what it's worth, it should be as soon as possible. We won't even take the point, we were going to raise the issue that if my learned friend wants to amend his heads, that we should be given the same privilege, but we are waiving that privilege. We will not do any further amendment because it's in the interest of Mr. Mafe that his freedom not be delayed even by one more minute as corporate.
With regard to the aids, is this the final recess they will talk about possible?
It was that I argued in anticipation that probably the court would just ignore because they wouldn't applicable on the issue of affidavits. The issue of affidavits may become relevant is the assertion by the court in defense that this application is unopposed. Obviously, it is opposed, it is an affidavit to that effect. This case law that I quoted around affidavits in bail applications, in that context, I would like that. But that's the only aspect, and then I think I made that link on section 16.1 that wasn't raised by the defense. The court can ignore that argument. Really in the hands of the court with respect to proposed date. I'm not available. My advocate voice indicated she's ready.
I would stand in and be available. Not even stand in, I would look like counsel, so I would be available.
I would feel my father to be principal.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear that question.
I'm saying I would presume Fridays would be principal.
I don't care if it is, George.
I mean, the sooner the better for us. Mr. Nati will make the judgments.
Friday the 4th of February, this coming Friday.
This would be fine. Yes, Your Worship, what time?
I shall say 11.
That's in order. Yes, it will have to be in order. No, it's fine.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Matters set down for judgment, the application to be delivered. This coming Friday, the 4th of February, the accused remains in custody until then.
Elityala kulimiselwa ifosa kaFebruary for isithuko sicelo sakho sebail uzohlala eluvalelweni.
Thank you, Worship. As the court pleases, we are invited to the court in call concern.
All right, remanded into custody. That was the bail application for Zandile Mafe, accused of setting Parliament on fire. Earlier, a lawyer for the state said that he had been angry with the president, that he wanted the release of Chris Hani's killer, Januz Waluz. And of course, that part of the possible motivation, this is the bail hearing. But of course, it's around the seriousness of the crime. He said that he didn't do it. Will follow when he's next in court.